we'll do the live thing first. Like, hey everybody, welcome back to the Bigmark podcast. It's me, your host, Bigmark. If it's your first time watching, welcome. If not, welcome back. Like I always said, if you ever want to reach out to the podcast for any reason, if you want to come on the podcast and join us here as a guest, let me know. Like I always say, I always want all my friends to come on if they can, but you know, maybe not everyone thinks I want them on, or they don't think that they'd be good. Honestly, no matter who you are, where you're from, what you need, we can get you on the Bigmark podcast. So thank you all for being here again. This is the best way you could possibly support the podcast, by being here, by watching, by sharing, by listening, however you're doing. It's the best way. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to go that extra mile, hit the like button, make a comment. I want to hear you guys in the comments too, not just the DMs. And if you really want to go that full, or the whole 9 yards, so to speak, go check out our Patreon, patreon.com/BigmarkPod. Got a couple different tiers there where you can support. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for taking the time. Could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to be here. And I'm glad you're here too, because, I mean, maybe looking at the title and description of this episode, it might be like, what the fuck's going on? But this is maybe not necessarily the most intriguing topic of all time, at least that we've done here on the Bigmark podcast. But hair plays a big role in everyone's life. Oh my God, we're human beings. We're mammals. Jeez, like, it's part of the fucking scenario. But I myself, as you know, if you've been a fan of the Bigmark podcast for a long time, or if you're just joining us tonight, you'd know I've always had long hair. I mean, I've had long hair since I think I started growing it in third year university, and kept it long while I was in bands and lived my life and doing all that stuff, and was a kid with long hair. I just was that long hair. I mean, in the podcast fucking logo, I got long hair. It's longer than it is now, actually. Fuck. And that was about the time where it was like officially long. I think that was probably when that photo was taken. But again, I became, I don't know, maybe it was an identity thing. A lot of my buddies on the football team were starting to grow their hair out, and I kind of wanted to be part of that whole magistry. But I was one of the few guys that kept the long hair. Actually, now that I'm looking back and thinking about my boys, a bunch of them cut their hair. I think Bo might still have kind of long hair, but he definitely cut his real short. He might have grown it out a little bit again, but yeah, like, there's not too many guys that I can remember that kept the long hair. I mean, guys got jobs, they tried to be cops, they tried to do all kinds of other stuff, and had to have a little bit more of a clean cut look. And again, I was just talking to my buddy about this the other day, and it's just like, I approached my life as a musician much like my life as an athlete, and that was every single move, every single moment of my day was thinking about what I'm doing right now contributing or taking away from my end goals, from wanting to be a winning athlete or wanting to be a good musician. That's how I live my life, is that I'm thinking about these things. I'm trying to organize my life around this. I want to pick a job and a career and do things around that so I can be flexible when needed. I mean, when I first graduated university and started my first band out of university, I mean, I had a bunch of bands, but the band that I got into right after school, everyone was like kind of just graduating university at the same time. I was, I think, a year older than some of the guys. No, 2 years older than some of the guys and a year older than some of the guys. And, again, we're all around the same age, all graduating around the same time. We were starting our lives, and we were kind of like, okay, like, this band is really important to all of us. What are we going to do here that's going to actually help us contribute? So I, was still thinking about doing my master's in sports psychology at the time, but I got into personal training through an old mentor, and he was able to kind of like hook me up with that. And I thought that was a perfect thing to do. You can make your own schedule a little bit more. Had a great time. I worked there for a couple of years while I was in the band, and it seemed to work out pretty well. And then when I inevitably left the gym, I went into the brewing industry, started working at a brewery, just because, you know, I had never really worked at like a bar or really officially at all in the hospitality service. I don't think I ever had a job, even definitely not back of house, but not even like auxiliary excuse me, to the hospitality industry. So it was like my kind of first foray. It was great. It was a great learning opportunity, honestly, because we had all types of different things. It was a large space. All these different people were coming in and out of there. Excuse me, I got a fucking frog in my throat here. You know, it was different events, all these different weddings and you know, anniversaries and get-togethers and work parties and all this stuff, let alone it was also a working factory, basically a production facility making the beer. So again, you have to juggle that. You can't really let people, you know, do whatever. I was doing tours of the place, just again, phenomenal. Worked my way up to sales again and again and again. A great way to learn the hospitality industry and also be in an industry where, you know, it's breweries. There's always like my band got to play at Sean and Ed's Brewing Company in Dundas, like, because I worked there, and like all these different things. Like it's cool. And like sales, like I'm talking to other breweries. I'm going into bars now, and I'm like, hey, you know, here's my card, and then here's my band's card. You know, can we play here? Like stuff like that, right? Like again, always thinking about my next move. Is that contributing or taking away from my end goal? And that's why I basically kept my long hair for the longest time. Truthfully, honestly, I loved the way I got to work it on stage, and it was rock and roll, man. Like especially when I was in a rock band, and growing your hair out that long also takes a fucking long time. So it's nice to, you know, be able to like change things up a little. Or sorry, I shouldn't say that. Growing your hair takes a long time. So when you do want to change something, it's a bigger decision, because you're like, fuck, I spent a year basically, at least maybe a couple years, really growing it fully out. And the middle stage fucking sucks. Like when you go from short hair, and like at the time I was wearing like a close crop fade, like my buddy Benny Cuts. Shout out Ben Rossong. He was one of our backup quarterbacks when I was at Western, and he could cut hair really well. He was really good with the old clippers, and everyone basically on the team had the same haircut, but you go to him and he'd fade you out. It would fucking nice, bro. You could go to Benny Cuts, like literally, if you're going out on Friday night, you go see Benny Friday evening, he'll hit you up, you're fresh for the bars, right? So Benny Cuts was the man. Unfortunately, he left and went back out east and went to St. Mary's University in Halifax. And a bunch of guys were left without our barber. We're like, fuck. And like almost all of us are from out of town, you know, Western's in London, but you know, everyone's from the GTA or further away. And, you know, Windsor everyone's from out of town, except the London guys, of course. But, so no one had a fucking barber that we could go to regularly. You can't get home all the time. We're playing football also. You're super beholden to that. So you don't have a lot of free time during the season, that is. So Benny was the man. And then when Benny left, we were all kind of like, what the fuck? And I'm pretty sure that was the big impetus of everyone starting to grow our hair. I think I don't know whoever made the decision. It was a Grove decision. If anyone's listened to the podcast before, you know what the Grove is. Shout out Grove. It's where it was like a cul-de-sac in London near campus. You know, how many houses are in a cul-de-sac? 10 to 15? 4 of these houses had football players in them. So it was pretty fucking nuts and really fun. And like I said, I think I mentioned it before on the podcast. You could do a fucking sociological study on just what the fuck went down in there. It was true like egalitarian communism. It was very interesting. Anyway, I was thinking back on when we started growing our hair, and it must have been when Benny left. And anyway, seemed like the idea permeated through the team, and a bunch of guys started growing their hair out, and like guys had mad long fucking hair, including myself. So then when I did leave and started playing music, you know, it was perfect. It was like, oh, this is fucking awesome. I got long hair now. You know, it's like I'm assuming my whole new identity is, you know, this is post-football no more jock. I'm living, breathing, and looking like a fucking hippie. And that was my look. I fucking rocked it for a long time, like I said. And that was with me for the longest time. And honestly, not too many times in my life, like, I never thought I would have a hairstyle for that long, because growing up, I always had different hairstyles, from being, coloring it. Like when I was a kid, frosted tips were cool. I used to rock like a kind of like a Caesar. I used to call it the flipping Caesar. My dad's buddy and my barber for when I was a kid till at least when I left for university. His name was Louis, and him and his dad Gus worked at Gus and Sons Barber Company. They worked fucking chair beside each other. Lou and his dad, fucking cool. You go in there, shoot the shit. It was a really classic Italian run. I forget what their fucking last name is. I want to say Molinaro, but it's definitely not Lou Molinaro. He's a music guy here in Hamilton. I can't remember, like Nardini or something like that. Like, it was like a very, very Italian last name, but again, Italian run. So you have guys in there shooting the shit. You have people walk into the barbershop, sit down, engage in conversation with seemingly almost everybody in the bar, or in the barbershop. I mean, Gus, I'm sure all his paisans had aged out, and none of them were visiting, because I'm sure that was the case before. But a bunch of Lou's friends would come in, and of course they also knew my pops, and it'd become this whole fucking yak fest. Super fun, sports posters all over the wall, fun stuff like that. It's just a great place, and that's where I used to go to get my haircut as a kid. And that was it's an interesting thing. I mean, I'd probably go into this in a completely different podcast, but of course, in no way am I saying that men have had a disadvantage at all in human history, truly, apart from the fact that we die in wars, and not that women don't either, but like for most of history we fought and died, and that's our price we have to pay to be able to be in society, kind of thing. And then unfortunately women have to bear children and experience that only themselves. And my gosh, anyway, I don't know what kind of fucking can of worms I'm going into here, but one thing about men and manliness and macho, just being a man and being a boy, like, just stupid fucking gender role shit. But there's something satisfying about being in a place like an old school barbershop where you could curse and talk shit and say fucking crazy shit. No one's fucking listening. No one's gonna bust your balls or whatever like that. I mean, again, it's not to say that people are horrible and people are saying horrible shit. Sometimes when you feel more loose and free, you say different things. Let's just put it that way. So, super cool, really awesome place. Hopefully more and more of those places kind of come back, just where we get a little bit, just camaraderie and just this male social interaction. We can't touch each other. We can only shake each other's hands. There's not a lot. There's too many rules about men. So the only places we can thrive are these men's only places. I think that's the unfortunate part about history, is where it's gotten. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about anymore. Honestly, I don't want to go there. All I'm saying is that barbershop feeling was super cool, and I used to rock like, very barbershop kind of fucking haircut. It wasn't fucking styled at all. And that was like kind of when I was younger. And then, however, if we go back even further, the first person who ever cut my hair, Lori, I'm sorry, I've only known you as Lori, the hairdresser. And she was the first one to cut my hair, and she cut my hair till COVID, basically. She cut my hair like almost my whole life. While I had long hair, she would be the one who touched it up. Her daughter was also a musician too, so we always used to catch up on that. Super nice lady. Again, she was my hairdresser for the longest time. So whether I went to Lou, if I wanted a short cut buzz, I went to Lou. If I wanted like a little bit of style, I went to Lori. Lou and Lori. Anyway, and Lori used to do all kinds of cool cuts because she was a cool hairdresser, and she was younger, and she was like, excited to work with my hair, and she always used to love my hair. My hair's receding a little bit now, but I used to have pretty thick hair. It's not that the rest of it isn't too thick, but the front isn't so hot anymore. But I used to have really thick hair, so she used to love it. I used to basically rock. So she was the one who colored my tips, the frosted tips. She gave me, like, when I was in grade 8, basically like a Bieber precursor hair. It was like Beatles and Bieber met. A little longer, but like swept right across my brow. Wasn't like emo like in front of my eyes. I think one of my pictures it looks like it is because it was so long. It gave like a shadow. But she gave me that haircut. I buzzed my own fucking hair into like a mohawk before, like done all that kind of shit too. You know, it was just like, you know, I was kind of like, it's fucking hair. It's gonna grow back. You know, it's a place to have your style, be creative, and express yourself. And I always looked at that, and then I look back at all this time I've had long hair. I mean, I had long hair essentially for like 10 years. And again, it was just like ready for a change, ready for a different trim. I think I mentioned in the last podcast or the other. You know, hope everyone likes the new do. But it just got me thinking. It just got me thinking about this, about hairstyles. And, you know, when I did get my hair, I loved it. It was great. My new hairdresser, barber, she's kind of both, which is hilarious. Chelsea. Shout out Chelsea at Good Time Barber Co. in Hamilton here. Really great shop. Her and her partner, Graham, I think. Shoot. Anyway, I'm so sorry. They run the shop. Tremendous. Hold on, I got to look this up here. I got to give them the props that they deserve. Really great shop. They're super new. They've been super busy lately. So if you do know, if you do want to go there, if you do live in Hamilton, check out Good Time Barber and Co. On 230 and a half Lock Street South in Hamilton. Really, really cool place. Braden. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Graham, what the fuck I was talking about. Braden and Chelsea, Good Time Barber and Co. Really great spot. No matter short, medium, or long cut, your beard even, they'll fucking hook you up. Chelsea gave me a little fucking trim around the beard as well. But I've been going to her for a while, you know, kind of post-COVID. I don't know why I went to stop seeing Lori. I'm sorry, Lori. If you're listening to this, I miss you. But she used to work, her and Braden actually used to work at the Glass Box, which is another little barbershop right on the corner of Locke and King. And it's like all windows, super nice. Actually, my buddy Nick goes there. You've seen him on the podcast before. But they used to work there together, and then they left and started their own place. So I lived like literally around the corner from Glass Box during COVID. So I was like, okay, like this is a great place. It's local, it's close. I don't have to go too far. I don't have to do all this. And I started going there. And then when Chelsea and Braden started their own place, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I'll go down the street, same diff. Let's fucking hang out. So she's been cutting my hair for a little while, especially when I was keeping it long. And I kind of told her, I was like, you know what? Like, I was, you know, worrying myself about my receding hairline kind of thing. And it's not too terrible, don't get me wrong. But when it was pulled back in my bun, when I used to wear like an elastic, I think it started, you know, it's putting extra tension there. It's just kind of probably prolonging the magic, or speeding up the process, I should say. You know, it kind of runs in my family. There's some genetics there. Who knows? We'll see. I hope it doesn't. Who cares? Again, like I said, it's hair. So you can get it cut. You can style it. There's ways to rock it. Obviously, losing your hair is kind of a weird thing for guys. It's really a self-conscious thing for men. And women too, of course. Women can lose their hair too, right? So when you lose your hair, it just becomes like, I don't know, man. You just feel shitty, and like something about guys with hair. They don't give a fuck about saying shit to guys with hair too. It's just fucking weird, man. But that's just this whole thing, like with or without. Who cares, man? And a lot of dudes are just fucking going Joe Rogan style and just buzzing it right down to the wood and saying, "Fuck it, you guess. Am I doing this by choice or by choice?" And yeah, it's an interesting thing, losing your flow. And, you know, I look back at some older pictures and you see it's not even that bad, and I'm probably being self-conscious about it, don't get me wrong. Because, you know, unfortunately some of my buddies have lost it like earlier, or losing it, whatever. Like everyone's fucking losing it. So what are you going to do? Again, like I said, I was kind of like, I know it's going. It's not going to be around forever. So let's take advantage while there's still hay, and just keep it styled. And I always thought back when I had long hair, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to like get it cut. And it's like a beautiful, blank canvas for any hairdresser, any stylist, any barber to just go to town. Right. So I finally bit the bullet. Chelsea sent me over some. She was super helpful when I was like, hey, I think I want to get it cut. And she's like, when I was telling her I was worrying about losing it too. She was like, wearing it up and back all the time, you're probably going to have to cut that out because that's pulling on it and it just makes it look like that. And, I was like, all right, well, what about like if we kind of cut a bunch of it off too, right? Like it lightens it up too, right? It's not like pulling down so much, doesn't look so shitty. And, kind of not have it in a bun anymore where it's always pulling. And she was like, oh, yeah, so here's a couple options for some shorter cuts. And she sent them over, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I kind of went with, like, the shortest one that she sent. And we kind of just were like, you know what, let's just fucking go for it. Let's do a real chop here. Like, let's get it nice. It's still fucking, like, it's still long. I'd say, I guess it'd probably be medium length. But it's definitely not, like, super short. But again, super nice, great change, super weird. Reason I brought that up was, when I did get it cut first, I was, looking in the mirror and stuff and realizing like, wow, like your hair, even though I wore it up a lot, you'd see my face and my neck and all this stuff. Even though I wore it like I did, I had it down quite often. So I was really used to seeing myself with long hair, obviously. And as soon as I cut, I was like, oh man, okay, I kind of remember, or I get it, or it's like, wow, like, yes, your hair does say a lot about you as a person. It does give people kind of the first impression of who you are, especially a lot of people that go way out and color their hair or style it crazy or do all types of shit with their hair. It does really put something forward into the world. It is kind of the first thing. So not to say that I didn't give a fuck, but I liked having my long hair, but I know there's a connotation attached to that. I had a lot of people be like, fucking guys with man buns, this, that, and the other, but it looks good on you, dog. Like, don't, like, it's like, all right, man, do you really mean that or whatever? Because, yeah, I suited it, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like it was completely, I looked like shit with it, and it was cool. And I loved playing with it on stage, like I said. But change is good. It was a good change. I was ready to fucking mix it up a little bit. So hope everyone likes it. Might have to change the podcast logo. No, I'm just joking. I might grow it out again a little bit. We'll see. Who knows, right? But that's how we do on the Bigmark podcast. We change it up. Live it. It's just hair. So thanks all for listening. If you have any comments or anything you want to make, hit us up. Or if you're wanting to cut your hair too, join the peace train. Anyway, thank y'all for listening. Hope y'all enjoyed. You guys are the best. We'll see you next week. Peace.